Hi. Do you ever feel like some of the codependent symptoms that you become aware of, the rescue reflex, the energy of urgency, the knee-jerk response sometimes where you just feel like you have to save the day, the enmeshment that sometimes happens in relationships, the urge to merge, the difficulty sometimes leaving relationships, friendships, business situations where you know that it is no longer in your best interest to stay. And yet leave taking can be so wrenching, so challenging. Do you ever feel like it's a life sentence? Like you're never really going to get over it, get past it, get better? Hi, I'm Beverly Van Brown. And if you do have those feelings, you're not alone. So many of the people who I've worked with when we first started to do life coaching sessions have described to me a sense of despondency when we first began, a sense of almost despair, because they'd lived with all of this for so long, and they felt it was so deeply ingrained right in their DNA that they would just simply always be at the effect of it. Well, I have great news for you today. It doesn't have to be that way. Codependency is not a life sentence, even though sometimes it may feel that way. Haven't we all noticed, however, that sometimes at the most seemingly dark and difficult periods in our lives, when we start to tell ourselves all the old BS, the old belief systems that say, oh, it's always going to be this way and it's always going to be painful and struggle is the way it is, so don't expect much any better than that. And very often there will be this glimmer of light. Something will change. We will have an awareness. We will have a consciousness expanding experience. We'll meet another person who models for us another way, a better way. And then, very often, where there seemed to be no way, there is a way that unfolds. A door opens. Maybe it's just a crack at first, and yet there is that glimmer, that rush of expectation and optimism which returns to our awareness. Notice my words, please. I say returns to our awareness because the truth is the optimism, the looking for what is optimal and life-affirming is, I believe, always there. That inner light within us, that pilot light, never goes out. There may be times when we feel depressed or angry or fearful or resentful, really, that we have to even deal with this. And maybe you know enough about codependency to realize that it's not something you necessarily did to yourself. It's something that occurred out of a bigger context of your early childhood. The point is, we can learn how to speak to ourselves differently. The point is, you're an adult now. And where you did not have, realistically, very many options when you were a little baby or a toddler just barely able to walk, now you have many choices and many chances to do things in a whole new and much, much more joyful way. Is it always easy? No, it isn't. But have you noticed that many of the greatest things in life sometimes require of us a bit of an energy of work, a bit of a dedication, a sense of devotion to a process? And that's what it is. It's a process of living which allows us to expand our conscious awareness, not only in our minds, but in our hearts, in our souls, and it textures us. It allows us to be enlivened if we'll stick with it. So please understand that when we talk about codependency, we're talking about a tendency which is often very shame-based and very guilt-ridden, based on a belief that we're somehow inadequate, not enough, that we can't be smart enough or inventive enough, industrious enough, or whatever the other wording or challenges are, to do what needs to be done and get it all together. None of that is true. Everything can change for the better in a heartbeat. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in my clients' lives, I've seen it in friends, and I've seen enormous changes happen in my family over many years. So I would suggest to you that you look at this not as a life sentence. You look at it as a phenomenal opportunity to heal your past, to understand life and your family and your relationships differently and in a new light, and keep asking, what else is possible for my life? How can I be a better service to myself and the divine presence of my understanding? How can I talk to myself in a way that's more compassionate than I ever may have been spoken to in any consistent way by the people who raised me, by the school system, by the church community if you had one, by the teachers, by the way that you were addressed or thought of in your community, by some of the so-called leading lights, by the messages that the media gave you, movies, songs, all those love songs that Moon June Spoon encouraged you to believe that you were not a whole person without a mate. That's also a lie. Some of the happiest people on this earth are single, and some of them are mated, and some of them are happiest at times when they are in between relationships, and it's all okay. And when you get to a point where you realize that one is not better than the other, it's just different, then you're really in a position to know that codependency is something that you've got under control. Not that you're hiding it or you're sublimating all your sexual desires or any of these other complicated things that come up. You're just really being fully present in the moment, appreciating how love is showing up in your life, whether it's through your friends, whether it's through pets, whether it's through your love of doing certain activities and following your aptitudes, your abilities, your passions, developing them more, amplifying them to greater and greater heights. Knowing that you're living your life purpose so you have a sense of deeper inner motivation and zeal. It all works together. So please, if you start to feel hopeless about getting over codependent behaviors, if you see people around you who you feel are progressing faster than you, remember, you're not running a race here. You're living a life. You're co-creating with Spirit a better day. Every time you take a breath in, your whole life is before you. No matter where you've been or who you've been with or what god-awful experiences you're focusing on, there also have been joyful ones. There also have been opportunities for great things to happen, and there will be as many or more, I believe, for you in the future. So remember that phrase, codependency is not a life sentence. My channel is devoted to helping people to heal from all sorts of things, to build yourselves up based on a knowledge that I have, that we are all divinely perfect in our imperfections, and that we all have enormous strengths, many of which we are not consciously aware of. And once we become aware of them, then we have a rock-solid foundation on which to build a whole new way of thinking, of being self-soothers instead of self-accusers, of being people who are caregivers at times but not caretakers, people who help and buoy ourselves and others up in a healthy, functional way without enabling, without enmeshing, without getting so caught up that we feel like we're prisoners in the service of something or someone that really we would do better to be far away from and love from a safe distance. I'm Beverly Banoa Brown. I hope that this has been of help and reassurance to you. I tell this to you from my heart. I invite you, if you haven't already, to become a subscriber to my channel, Beverly Banoa Brown MS, free of charge. And I also invite you to leave me a like if you've enjoyed any part of this, and leave a commentary so that I know what your thoughts and feelings are. Many of you know that I make a very concerted effort because I really do cherish your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your questions, to read every single one and comment if I can, as my responsibilities and demands on my time allow. Also, there are numerous other videos to check out besides the Codependency Revealed series. I encourage you to look at Inner Peace Now, Radical Gratitude, about Vanishing Twin Syndrome, which I believe affect many, many people who have issues with codependency and may not yet realize it. Also, Joyful Marriage, Authentic Dating, Successful Dating, Mindful Parenting, Parenting with Heart, and there are a number of other ones, new topics that I'm preparing every day now, and I can't wait to tape them for you and upload them, and hopefully you will enjoy them and be blessed by them. All right then, until next time, know that you're in my very caring prayers every single day, wherever you are, whomever you are. Bye for now, until next time.